Yeah,
You talking about Diddy?
Diddy. You know, even Epstein, all of them. What one human being does, all human beings are doing.
About what Terrence Howard had to say. Because of all that he talked, he say nothing about Bryshere. He played his television father.
Right.
He was on set. He saw what Charlie Mack and them were doing. He knew they were taking those young boys to Diddy. They all knew.
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out.
Trying to him out so he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him.
At first, this looked like one of those stories everyone loves. A young artist, coming from nothing, suddenly finding himself in the spotlight. Fame, money, recognition. Bryshere Gray became a symbol of what Hollywood promises. That talent alone can change your life overnight. But stories like this don't usually go viral years later unless something went wrong. And now, what people are starting to question is not just what happened, but what was happening behind the scenes, the entire time. Because when multiple voices from inside the industry start pointing in the same direction, it forces people to stop and look deeper.
I know you won, but let me give you one more thing. Let's get into the paperwork. There's paperwork to this. So after all this starts to play, the story's long. You got to get the book. But long story short,
I'm gonna get the book.
Right. But Charlie Mack.
I will link the link to the book in the description of this video as well.
Okay, so let me just say this so people won't think it's hearsay and just gossip. This is why these people not coming to court. So now, Charlie Mack and Will gets a lawyer for Bryshere, and they try to get me under NDA. I tell Will, I'm not signing. I don't even have an NDA with you. How am I getting an NDA with him? You understand what I'm saying? So I hire a lawyer, right? Mm-hmm. When I hire the lawyer, he comes back and say, listen, this is the best I can do. He said, I'm going to have y'all do a mutual NDA, meaning that Bryshere can't tell people that you know that Will and Diddy sexually assaulted him. And I want to say the R word, but I know we're on YouTube. Then you can't say nothing about him. So I said, okay, well, as long as he stopped telling people that I know what Will and Diddy did to him. You understand what I'm saying? Period. That was the problem. So there's legal paperwork, and it's all going to be, and you got to follow this case.
When you hear something like that, it immediately shifts the tone of the entire story. Because now we're not just talking about rumors, we're talking about legal agreements, NDAs, and attempts to control who can speak and who can't. And historically, when situations reach that level, it usually means one thing. There's something at stake. But what makes this even more complicated is none of this exists in isolation. Because while one person is making claims, others are telling different parts of the same story. And this is where things start getting uncomfortable. Because Terrence Howard doesn't just talk about events, he talks about patterns.
I will forever be grateful and appreciative of that. But what I'm more concerned with right now is making sure that 4 generations from now,
thank you for that.
our children, and not just our children, we've been taught this fallacy that we're the only things made in God's image.
Right.
Everything in creation is made in God's image and deserves the same
Yes.
rights that we have.
That idea, that behavior is passed down, learned, repeated, changes the way you look at everything, because it suggests that what we're seeing might not be random. It might be part of something that's been happening for a long time. And if that's true, then Bryshere Gray's story might not be unique at all.
Waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love.
What is it, what is it with all the man-on-man action that I'm learning about? I mean, like with the puffy parties, like the last thing I ever thought that went on there was gay stuff. Not that gay stuff was wrong, it's wonderful. I just did not think that's what Puffy was doing.
Yeah, well, I didn't think it either. And even when my assistant said that stuff, I still was like joking it off. And it wasn't until later on that I heard other things from people that worked from him.
At first, even the people closest to these environments didn't believe it. It sounded exaggerated, unrealistic, even impossible. But over time, more stories started surfacing. Different people, different situations. But with one thing in common, they all pointed toward the same hidden side of the industry. And once those patterns start appearing, it becomes harder to ignore them.
Terrence Howard, Hustle and Flow, he just recently came out and told a story that, he was supposed to go work for Diddy. And he was summoned there multiple days to show him the ropes. And he ultimately felt that Diddy was trying to, in his own words, quote unquote, fuck him.
And take his man card.
Yeah.
He cares very much about that card.
Yeah, when you heard him tell this story, because now he just went online today to defend anyone who's questioning that story, to say it with the chest and say his name directly and come at him directly to question anything that he says. What are your thoughts when Terrence Howard tells this story of
he's telling the truth. So was Columbus Short last year on Boss Talk Radio. Looking real suspect down there, G.
1 a.m.
They damn near had the same story, didn't they? Or is everybody forgetting that a year ago, before Diddy got arrested, that Columbus Short told this exact same story? Except in his version, Diddy called him at 2:30 in the middle of the night while he was laying next to his wife, summoning him to come spend time with him. And then apparently on one instance, he had went and he was drinking, and he said he said that was the moment that he was grateful he was an alcoholic. Because he knew how high his liquor tolerance was, and there was no way he should have been slumped off of one drink. That's what he said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The question is, why are you answering the phone for a grown man while you're laying next to your wife at 2:30 a.m. in the morning? Why are you answering? All right, you making rounds? Okay.
Yeah. Cat Williams said, you got to tell Diddy no. You got to tell him no.
You got to tell the devil no.
There you go.
5 letters, Diddy, devil, same thing.
So,
Same thing.
As we're delving into this world of, of course, the Diddy, the case is coming up. We did an interview, it's not out yet, with Chopper City from Making the Band. And he said he ran into Cassie right before that lawsuit came.
You mean making the victim?
Oh, man. You said it.
I'm not laughing at the horror. I'm just laughing at like people still really don't want to accept the truth. It's amazing.
Now it's no longer just speculation. Now it's multiple accounts stacking on top of each other. And this is exactly how stories like this grow. Not through one piece of evidence, but through repetition, through similar experiences, told from different perspectives. And whether those stories are true, exaggerated, or misunderstood, they create something powerful, a narrative. And once a narrative takes hold, the internet does the rest. At this point, the focus shifts. It's no longer just about Bryshere Gray. It becomes about something bigger, the system around him.
You got to pick and choose which one you want to talk about, or which one you want to pick. Last time we were together, I don't know how Diddy conversation came up. That went everywhere. You remember that when we talked about the Diddy conversation, where I think he wants to, you know,
I think he's trying to get out of there.
And then afterwards, he obviously went to prison, court, all that stuff has been done. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch the 50 Cent documentary.
Yeah, I saw it.
What'd you think about it?
50 went in. He went all the way in. But it's like when you start judging people for the choices that they've made, you don't know the conditions and the circumstances that they were put under. You know, like I think about those girls that did that to me when I was 4. Where did they learn it from? Who did what to them that made them think it was normal to carry this thing out? You know, I think that a lot of us get caught up in habits that was passed down to us that aren't necessarily innate from us, but they get passed on to us. So I've got to look at him, you know, with compassion, because you got to remember he's still us. You look in his eyes, it's the same light of God that's shining back. It's just another wave of the universe looking at it. Diddy. You know, even Epstein, all of them. What one human being does, all human beings are doing. Because we're just really, what happens in the sea over here, we don't say this wave just crashed.
Interesting thing to say. If one human being does, so meaning someone taught Epstein, someone taught Diddy. When I had Suge Knight on, Suge Knight said, who did he say, Rob, that taught Diddy? He gave a name. Quincy? No, was it Quincy? Clive Davis. Yeah, he said Clive Davis.
Clive Davis.
Yeah, he talked about that, what Clive did early on, and then so probably somebody taught Clive, and this thing keeps. Did you hear any stories about Epstein in Hollywood, or he wasn't in Hollywood?
No, I mean, when I would hear about Chris Tucker and people hopping on the plane to go there, I didn't know that Epstein was, you know, the bad guy that he is now. But I was like, damn, I would love to go. You know, I didn't know what was happening.
No one talked about Epstein.
No, nobody.
Harvey, they did, but not Epstein.
They didn't talk about Epstein. I didn't know. But hell, I could have easily ended up over there if he had invited me over there, because you think, okay, I'm going with the Hollywood move. That's how you get there. Like I wasn't invited to the Puffy parties. I wasn't invited to any of those things. So there's a part of me that's so grateful that I wasn't invited. But back then I felt excluded. Back then I felt like, oh, I must be doing something wrong. You know, I wish I had participated in some of the druggery, you know, and then wouldn't have alienated people that were good friends that could have been good friends, you know, because I still ended up participating in the druggery when I got older. But at the time, I just didn't want to do it because, you know, I had these other things that were pressing upon me. Now, I didn't get stuck into druggery, you know, but yeah, it would have been nice to take some walks. You know, when I look back, you know, in my 30s.
Could have ended nasty.
It could have ended nasty.
So the fact that you didn't is probably a better thing.
So the universe places you can't really regret anything, you know, but there's still parts of me that's like, wow, I dodged a bullet with Epstein. I dodged a bullet because I wasn't invited to those places.
What he's describing here is something a lot of people don't realize until much later, that sometimes people don't walk into dangerous situations knowingly. They walk into them thinking it's opportunity, thinking it's progress, thinking it's the next step in their career. And by the time they understand what's really happening, they're already too deep inside. That idea alone is what makes this story resonate with so many people, because it suggests that not everything in the industry is as clear as it seems.
About what Terrence Howard had to say. Because of all that he talked, he said nothing about Bryshere. He played his television father.
Right.
He was on set. He saw what Charlie Mack and them were doing. He knew they were taking those young boys to Diddy. They all knew. I guess his man card only counts, or is only large enough to cover his asshole.
Okay.
Because if you truly believed in all that you say, there is no way you could stand by and watch all of those people that you worked with do what they did to those kids. And you said nothing. Like, if you're gonna have integrity, it needs to wrap all the way around the building.
Yes, facts.
You gotta have integrity for it all. If the man card is the thing, and you ain't gonna let nobody take yours, when you see a younger man being preyed upon, you're not gonna stand in the gap for him and say, no, you ain't taking his man card. No. Cause see, that's what a real one would do. Meanwhile, you've been this close from making that amount of money that you wanted to retire. For what, like 16 years? You think you gonna get it? Do you? You've always, Terrence Howard has been 2 movies away from retiring for the past 16 years.
He still speaks on Iron Man.
And guess what? Don Cheadle ain't had no problem with scooping that up. I guess the man card. Like, I'm looking at all of these adult black so-called elite entertainment whatevers. Y'all don't give no damn about what's happening to these kids. And y'all don't give no damn about how it rips them apart for years after. I'm actually about to present one of my new podcasts. It's called Tracking the Pain. It's going to be a realistic and esoteric investigation into the life and the work of an artist leading up until they signed the contract and everything that happened after.
Wow.
I will be working with a psychic and a gematria specialist to really make sure that everyone is seeing not just the physical side, but the metaphysical side as well, because people don't like to believe that we live in a spiritual realm that is being controlled by frequency and sound, and it is.
Jaguar Wright's approach is different. She doesn't hold back. She doesn't filter, and because of that, her words hit harder. For some people, she's exposing uncomfortable truths. For others, she's going too far. But regardless of where you stand, her voice adds intensity to the conversation, and intensity is what keeps stories like this alive.
See, what I'm saying is, in business, nothing is coincidental, or you would be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they killed this $20 million guy, but they reached $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And they had some people from your city do it.
Wow.
I'm saying there's the good side and the bad side of these businesses. And
what Cat Williams is pointing at is something deeper than controversy. He's talking about incentives, because in any system, you have to ask one question: who benefits? And when you start asking that, you begin to see things differently. You begin to question narratives, timelines, and outcomes. But while all of this was happening, something else was unfolding at the same time. Bryshere Gray's life was beginning to change.
When I say Andy, I'm talking about Bryshere's mom. I'm gonna kick you in your and I'm gonna go to work North Philly style. You and Charlie. You happy now? He's a gay star. Are you happy now, Andy? For a book that didn't sell. I hope that new husband of yours leaves you. And maybe it's time you tell your son why his father is really in jail, his biological father, for all of his life and what you had to do with it. You CI. I'm sorry.
Do you feel this is...
That came to me and begged me for my help. I told her to get the away from Charlie. I did everything that I could do to get Bryshere, to help her get Bryshere out of California into Chicago State to be ready for filming. She knew she knew what Will did to him. But because of Charlie, see? And Charlie had promised her all kinds of things. And all she had to do was pretend to be a broken down single mom who worked her way up through the ghetto and raised a superstar for television, when the truth is she wasn't nothing but a drug dealer's whore. That's all she ever was. She went from drug dealer to drug dealer, and then she snitched on whoever she needed to snitch on until she could get to the bigger bag, until she got with Larry Lair, my friend who raised Bryshere in $1 million home. Your whole book is lies, Andy. And I hope anybody that bought it asks for a refund and demands it comes out of your pocket every time they see your son's gay. You and Charlie Mack.
Yeah, let me ask you. Today the U.S. Yeah, no, we gonna pray for Mr. Gray, man. If he needs prayer, I don't even know what's going on.
They trying to sleep him out so he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present, that tape exists.
Okay.
I really hope none of that baby oil was used on those kids. That would just be in bad taste. Baby oil on babies.
You can't say that the flavor camp was sponsored by Johnson & Johnson. You just come on. Come on.
Starting to sound that way, ain't it?
No.
All that talent, and she let Charlie tune that boy up on coke, knowing that he was bipolar and had ADHD. What kind of mother would do that to her son? Turn him into a so you could pretend to be something more than what you are, which is nothing more than a Philly whore. You're a whore. You're a bigger whore than they're making your son out to be, that's for sure. Because he didn't have no choice. You was down by all. I'm sorry. The Bryshere conversation for me is not easy.
This is where the story becomes emotional, because now it's not just about theories anymore. It's about real consequences, real struggles, and real damage. Whether every claim is true or not, what we do know is this: his life didn't go the way people expected. And when someone goes from massive success to public struggles, people naturally start asking, what happened in between? And that brings us to the most important part of this story: the contrast.
How are we gonna do the entrance of it though?
I don't know, you're the artist.
All right, here we go. Here we go. It's your boy, Bryshere Gray. Here. Empire. What's up, man?
That was great. Thanks. Congratulations on the success of the show. I mean, last year it seemed like it was like just a big train that came in and just kept going along. You guys set ratings records and everything. Did you expect that at all when you got the pilot script?
No, not at all. It just kind of just blew up out of nowhere, man, really. And just from the music to the acting, put it together. It was a great project.
And how has it changed your life personally? I mean, just all the success. I mean,
oh man, from everything.
I've been to events, people are screaming your name all the time.
Man, it's like traveling from city to city. People know my face everywhere I go. It's a huge blessing, man. It's just, I'm happy to be a part of something that's inspirational to the world and it means something to the world. And my character is kind of mean, but he means something to the world, and I'm just happy to be playing that character.
That version of Bryshere is the one the world fell in love with. Confident, happy, full of energy. Someone who believed this was just the beginning. But when you place that moment next to everything that followed, it creates a question that's hard to ignore. How does someone go from that to this? And maybe that's why this story continues to spread, because it doesn't give clear answers. It leaves gaps, and people naturally try to fill those gaps. Some believe there's something deeper going on. Others think it's just speculation, taken too far. But the truth is, it's probably somewhere in between, but one thing is certain. Stories like this don't disappear. They evolve, they grow, and they keep coming back, because they touch on something bigger than just one person. The idea that behind success, there, might be a side of the story that most people never see. So now the question is, not just what happened to Bryshere Gray, but how many other stories like this are still hidden? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more deep breakdowns like this, subscribe, because this is just the beginning.